G'day Gear Junkies, Jason here. I thought long and hard whether I was going to make this video at all. I don't usually like disparaging brands or products, but I think it's your right as the consumer to know my genuine opinion on certain things. So about a year ago, I bought the MEL9 by Electro Harmonix, and as you can tell by the thumbnail, I think it sucks. Well, mostly. Firstly, if you don't know what this pedal is supposed to do, it's supposed to replicate a Mellotron keyboard, which was kind of like a very, very early sampler back in the 60s. A lot of people think of this as an orchestra pedal. It's not. It's supposed to replicate the sounds of a keyboard that replicated the sounds of an orchestra. So it's like a cover of a cover. It'd be your version of Guns N' Roses' version of Knock Knock Knockin' on Heaven's Door, which was written by Bob Dylan. This pedal came out way back in 2016. EHX commissioned Bill Rupert to do their official demo of this pedal. And when I saw that, I really wanted to try one of these. And it wasn't until last year that I found one for a decent price so that I actually could try it. Now, Bill Rupert did a stellar job demoing this pedal and made me really want to try it. In practice, though, I found this to be highly disappointing. So this pedal has 9 different modes, and they range from mildly useful through to I'm never trying that again. So the mode that I was most looking forward to using was cello mode. Now in Bill Rupert's original video, he said there are no tracking issues with this pedal because it doesn't trigger samples. Now I found the tracking to be quite terrible. If you've watched my channel before, you know that I love playing Bach cello suite in G, and as part of that particular piece of music, you leave a G note ringing, a G bass note ringing out while you play the melody over the top of it. And this really struggles when it comes to holding a drone note while playing other notes over the top of it. So the way I've set this pedal up is I'm using both outputs. So one output is just for the effect and the other one is a dry output, which is unaffected. So that's why I was flicking between my affected signal and my non-affected signal so you could hear the difference between them. And as you could hear, it was very glitchy. It does block chords and individual notes a lot better, although any slight pitch variation with your fingers will make a very drastic difference with this pedal. Another thing I didn't like about this pedal is that it had a lot of sudden jumps in volume, which I found very hard to control. So as for the modes, the orchestra mode is okay. Cello mode sounds okay with single notes, but even then it's not particularly great. Number 3 was the strings mode, and this was probably the most useful out of all the modes for me. I actually used it in a recording, which I'll demonstrate a little bit later on. Number 4 is flute. Now this actually sounded kind of good with playing the intro to Stairway. If you have a bit of a 50-50 mix between your dry signal and the affected signal, it sounds okay. Number 5 is clarinet, and to me it doesn't really sound like a clarinet. Number 6 is saxophone. It's okay. This is probably the one I had the most trouble with the volume jumps. The last 3 modes here are pretty much unusable. The brass is easily the worst. It does not sound like brass at all. In fact, it actually sounds distorted to me. And then we have a low choir and a high choir as our last 2 modes, and neither of them sound particularly great either. So I explained before that I was using this for a recording. I was writing a piece of music that I wanted a string section in, and I kind of used this to experiment with a little bit. Now I was going to overlay some more intricate parts using this, but when I tried it, it didn't sound particularly good. Now funnily enough, when this came out in 2016, I was going to pull the trigger on either this or a license for the MIDI program Reason. In the end, I decided to go with Reason because although the cost was somewhat similar, Reason had way more capabilities than this pedal. And I'm very, very glad that I did. Now to demonstrate, I'm going to show you that section of music again. I kept the string parts from this in there, but I'm going to overlay a lot more intricate string parts using Reason. One of the things that this pedal does fairly well is that it sort of gives the aesthetic of that sort of recorded played back sound. What I mean by that is that the Mellotron itself had recordings of these instruments and played them back, and these recordings were done on tape, so they had a lot of imperfections. So this does have some sort of imperfections about the sound quality, which I think actually give it a bit of character, and I don't mind that. Now, as you can probably tell, the MEL9 just isn't for me. Now, I don't want to disparage EHX. I mean, good on them for trying something different, and they have put out some absolute classic pedals over the years. I've actually tried the Key 9, which featured very early in my channel's history, which I actually really liked. Interestingly, when I did a bit of research on this pedal to find out how people were using them in their rigs, a lot of people were actually dissatisfied with it. So although someone like Josh Scott really talked this pedal up, I think that you really need to take into consideration that maybe not quite what you think it is. So if you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you want to support my channel, you can go to the Middle Age Gear Junkie store and buy some merchandise. I've left the links in the description below. And if you want to support me further, you can support me through Patreon. Other than that, my name is Jason. Have a great day. See you later.